Hi, fifth graders. This is Miss Almeida saying hi to you during Week of Respect. That's the week in New Jersey that we concentrate on to talk a little bit about bullying awareness and understanding what behavior is bullying and what behavior is kind and how we can make a difference and help each other out. And we're talking about connection. So I wanted to share a story with you this week, which is called What is Empathy? A Bullying Storybook for Kids by Amanda Morin and John Joseph. Empathy is something we'll talk often about this year. We talked about it last year too when you were all in fourth grade and working on understanding other people. Here it is. It says part 1, Sophia's story. And this is a story about two people telling the same story. It says that's what happens in this book. Sophia had been waiting for the first day of school. It meant she could see Ava again. Sophia and Ava were best friends. They both love bubblegum ice cream. They both snort, laughed when they're giggling, got out of control. Ava was the only person Sophia told her biggest secrets to. Ava and Sophia even used to live next door to each other. But last spring, Sophia's family had to move across town. Sophia's mom worked all day and didn't have a car. It was too far for Sophia to bike to Ava's house by herself, so she hadn't seen Ava all summer. Sophia knew Ava would save her a seat on the bus. They always sat together, but when Sophia got on the bus, she saw Ava sitting with a girl she didn't know. Sophia stopped at Ava's seat and smiled. "I'm so happy to see you. Move over," Sophia said. The new girl frowned. "I sit here. Ava's my friend." Sophia waited for Ava to move over, but she didn't. Ava just looked at Sophia, raised her eyebrows, and shrugged. Sophia saw her friend Liam in another seat watching. She hoped he didn't notice she was crying. "Come sit with me," Liam called. "You got glasses? They're so cool." "Yeah," Sophia replied. "I can see so much better." She sniffled and wiped her face on her sleeve. "Who's that girl? Why was she so mean? And why didn't Ava tell her that I'm her best friend?" Sophia asked. "She must be new," Liam said. "I'm sure Ava will stick up for you next time." But as the days went by, Ava did not stick up for Sophia. Ava and her new friend Madison even picked on her. At lunch, they told Sophia, "You can't sit here, too bad." At recess, they told Sophia, "Sorry, this game's full, you can't play." But Sophia knew this wasn't true. She saw Madison and Ava sitting with other kids at lunch and playing with them at recess. Sophia missed her best friend and was sad that she had moved. She couldn't just walk over to Ava's house for a sleepover. They didn't get to eat ice cream together after school. Now Ava didn't even giggle with her at school. Sophia was lonely. Why didn't Ava like her anymore? The worst day came 3 weeks later. "Did you see Sophia's shirt?" Madison asked kids at lunch. Ava gave it to her because her mom can't afford to buy new clothes. Sophia only wears hand-me-downs. Sophia's face turned red. Only Ava knew that. How could Ava tell her big secret? "You should tell the teacher," Liam said. Sophia didn't want to be a tattletale. She didn't know what to do. She was in a pickle. That's what her mom called any problem that didn't have an easy answer. Sophia always remembered her mom saying because she didn't like pickles. She didn't like being in a pickle either. But if not, Mom knew about being in pickles, maybe she knew how to get out of a pickle too. "Mom, I'm in a pickle," she told her mom that night. "What kind of pickle?" Mom said. Sophia told Mom everything. She told her that thanks to Madison, everybody in class knew Sophia's big secret. Sophia whispered, "I think Madison is a bully, and I think Ava might be a bully too." Mom hugged Sophia tight. "That's a big pickle," she said. "I bet you feel sad and lonely." It does sound like they're acting like bullies. "Acting like bullies? They are bullies," Sophia exclaimed. "How people act is different from who they are," Mom said. "I think Ava might be angry because we moved away. Maybe that's why she's bullying you. We should try to have some empathy for Ava." Sophia didn't know what empathy was. "It's when you're able to see things through someone else's eyes," Mom explained. "I know that's hard to do when you're feeling hurt, but maybe you can try." As she fell asleep, Sophia wondered about empathy. Was it a superpower? Could she have it? How could she make Ava see through her eyes? These are really great things to think about. The next day at recess, Sophia handed Ava her glasses. "Put these on and look at Madison," Sophia demanded. Ava shook her head. Sophia wanted Ava to have empathy. She stomped her feet. "Put them on," Sophia shouted. "I want you to see through my eyes." "Mrs. Hall," Madison called. "Sophia is bullying Ava. She's yelling and trying to make her do something she doesn't want to do." Mrs. Hall took Sophia aside. You and Ava are having a very hard time this year. Why don't you tell me what's going on? I just wanted Ava to have empathy, Sophia said. Why do your glasses have to do with empathy? Mrs. Hall asked. Well, Sophia explained that she wanted Ava to see through her eyes. Mrs. Hall smiled. I understand, she said. That's very wise of you, Sophia. But empathy doesn't mean really seeing through someone else's eyes. It means knowing what it's like to be in their shoes. Uh-oh. Another figure of speech. Sophia told Mrs. Hall how she and Ava got matching sneakers when they were best friends. Ava's still wearing them, Mrs. Hall. Do you think Ava's sneakers can give her empathy? Mrs. Hall smiled again. I think it's a good sign that Ava still wears them, but that's not exactly what I meant. It's just a saying, she said to Sophia. Being in someone else's shoes means being curious about what it feels like to be them and why they act the way they do. You can't make people feel empathy. You can only be kind and hope they learn from you. Back in class, Sophia stopped at Ava's seat. I'm sorry about today, Sophia said. Madison rolled her eyes. It's okay, Sophia, Ava said. Madison was angry. Why did you tell her it's okay? You're my friend, she huffed. This confused Sophia. Why did Madison think Ava should have only one friend? That's a very good question, because everybody can have many friends, not just one. On the bus the next day, Ava was sitting alone. Madison was giggling with a girl Sophia didn't know. Sophia watched Ava's eyes fill with tears. She remembered that Mrs. Hall said about being curious. She thought about how sad she was feeling without Ava as her friend. She wondered if that's how Ava felt now. Sophia could understand these feelings through Ava's eyes. She knew what it felt like to be in Ava's shoes. Sophia was feeling empathy. Sophia noticed that Madison and her new friend had started picking on Ava. They didn't make room for Ava at lunch or play with her at recess. Sophia was still mad and her feelings were still hurt, but she remembered what Mom had been said about trying to have empathy anyway. Ava came. Come sit with us, Sophia called. Then we could all swing together at recess. At the end of the week, Ava said, I'm sorry I was mean, Sophia. I was sad when you moved. Madison moved in next door. She said she'd be my new friend. Sophia knew how scary it was to move to a new house. She also knew how sad she'd been that Ava had a new friend. She wondered if that's how Madison felt too. Sophia was thinking about why Madison was acting the way she did. She was feeling empathy again. It was something she could feel for everybody. Let's stand up for Madison together, but let's do it in a kind way, Sophia said. Then she told Ava what she knew about empathy. When Sophia got on the bus the next day, she stopped at Madison's seat and said hello. Madison frowned. Why are you talking to me? Because she's a kind friend, said Ava. Madison glared at Ava. She's not my friend and neither are you. I am your friend, said Ava. I'm Sophia's friend too. I should have told you that a long time ago. We could all be friends. So that's the first part of this book, and I wanted to leave it there because I'll come back to it another time. But these are great questions to think about. It says, the first story was told through Sophia's perspective or point of view. The next story will be told through Ava's point of view. As you read the second story, think about these three questions. How are the stories alike and how are they different? Are these parts of the story that are the same through both points of view? Do you feel differently about any of the characters after reading both stories? Do you think it's important to know both points of view? And how did empathy play a role? So I was going to stop, but I think I'm going to continue because these are good questions to ask, because point of view is very important. So part 2 is Ava's story. It was the first day of school. Ava was nervous. She hadn't seen her best friend Sophia since Sophia's family moved across town. That was a whole summer's worth of bubblegum ice cream that Ava had to eat without Sophia. Ava didn't know what would happen when she saw Sophia. She wasn't sure they were best friends anymore. They used to always sit together on the bus. Ava knew Sophia would expect to have a seat. But Ava hadn't saved Sophia a seat. She was sitting with her new friend, Madison, who had moved into Sophia's old house. Ava hoped they could all be friends. When Sophia got on the bus, she stopped at Ava's seat. I'm so happy to see you, she said, smiling. Move over. But before Ava could make room, Madison spoke up. I sit here. Ava's my friend. Sophia sat with her friend Liam, and Ava turned to Madison. "I think you made Sophia cry," Ava said. "I didn't even get to tell her I like her new glasses." Madison shrugged. "You're my friend now. We spent all summer playing together. If Sophia was really your friend, she would have at least come to visit." Ava thought over what Madison and Sophia's mom didn't have a lot of money or a car. Sophia would have to ride her bike to Ava's house, but she couldn't ride that far by herself, and her mom worked all day. Ava hadn't told Madison any of these things, but maybe Madison was right. Maybe Sophia should have found a way to come visit over the summer. As the days went by, Ava started to feel angry after all. Sophia had moved away and never visited, so Ava didn't stick up for Sophia when Madison picked on her. At lunch, Madison told Sophia, "You can't sit here, too bad." At recess, Madison said the game was full. Ava didn't speak up, even though Sophia looked hurt. So Ava was being, what? A bystander, right? We need her to be an upstander, but she was being a bystander. But we're noticing also that Ava's struggling with a few things too. And that's what happens when we make friends. Sometimes we're trying to figure out what it means to be a friend and how not to hurt them as well. But Ava saw Sophia sit with Liam at lunch and play with him at recess. It seemed to Ava that Sophia had made a new friend. Maybe Sophia didn't miss her best friend. That hurt Ava's feelings. Madison told her it didn't matter. I'll be your best friend," she said. She told Ava. "When I moved here, I had no friends. Now I have you. I don't need another friend. You don't either." Then came the worst day. Sophia came to school wearing a shirt that Ava loved. "Isn't that shirt cool?" Ava said asked Madison. "I gave it to Sophia when I grew it." "Why?" Madison asked. "Well, her mom doesn't have a lot of money. Sophia wears hand-me-downs." Ava didn't mean to tell Sophia's secret. It just happened. "Ew, I wouldn't wear other people's old clothes," Madison said rudely. Rude. Very rude. She told all the other kids that Sophia couldn't afford new clothes, so now that's gossip and spreading rumors. So, two mean things. Ava knew that Madison wasn't just being mean anymore. She was bullying Sophia. But Ava didn't think she could stand up to Madison. She didn't want Madison to bully her too. If Madison bullied her, Ava wouldn't have any friends left. She was in what Sophia's mom called a pickle. That's for sure. "Mama, I think I'm in a pickle," Ava said at bedtime. "What's going on?" Mama asked. Ava burst into tears. She told Mom everything. She told her, oh, that's her, I'm crying for her. She told her that she hadn't been sticking up for Sophia. Then she told Mama what Madison said about only needing one friend. "I'm angry at Sophia for moving, but I've been mean," said Ava. "If I were her, I'd be so sad." Mama thought for a minute. "I'm not happy with how you've acted," she said, "but I'm glad you have some empathy for Sophia." Ava didn't know what empathy was. "It's when you're able to understand how someone else might feel," explained Mama. Ava wondered about empathy. Did Sophia know about it? Could Sophia have empathy? I think something that's really important to think about here too is that Ava told the truth to her mom and expressed that she was being mean to Sophia, and also sharing about her feelings. So sometimes we make mistakes with our feelings, and we use our feelings as a way to treat other people. But I thought that was really good that she's speaking to Mom and being honest about it, and Mom being very understanding to her. The next day at recess, Ava was feeling grumpy again. She saw Sophia and Liam talking to each other. They looked like they were having fun. Ava wanted someone to talk to. She wasn't having any fun. She didn't think it was fair that Sophia was having fun without her. When the class lined up to go inside, Sophia stood next to Ava. Maybe Sophia wanted to be friends again. Ava decided to tell Sophia she missed her. But before Ava could tell her, Sophia pushed her glasses into Ava's face. "Put these on and look at Madison," Sophia demanded. Ava was confused. She shook her head. Sophia stamped her feet. "Put them on," she said, raising her voice. "I want you to see through my eyes." "Mrs. Hall," Madison called. "Sophia's bullying Ava. She's yelling and trying to make her do something she doesn't want to do." Mrs. Hall took Sophia aside to talk to her. It looked like Sophia was trying not to cry. "Why did you say that?" Ava asked Madison. "She wasn't bullying me. If anyone is bullying, it's you. You've been mean to Sophia since the very first day of school." Now, it looked like Madison was trying not to cry. "I'm not a bully," she said. "I was just making sure you'd keep being my friend. Besides, you were mean, too." Ava didn't know what to say. Madison was right. They had both been mean. But Madison was also wrong. Why did she think Ava would stop being her friend? Back in class, Sophia stopped at Ava's seat. "I'm sorry about today," she said. Ava smiled. "It's okay, Sophia." Madison was still angry. "Why did you tell her it's okay? You're my friend." Madison huffed. "If you're going to be Sophia's friend, you can't be mine anymore." So at lunch, Madison told Ava, "You can't sit here. Too bad." At recess, Madison said, "Sorry, this game's full. You can't play." Ava took a deep breath. "I'm sorry I was mean, Sophia," she said. "I was sad when you moved." Madison moved in next door. She said she'd be my best friend, my new friend. "But why are you being so kind? Why are you being so kind to me?" "I know what it is like to be in your shoes. I was sad when you stopped being my friend. I can even see through Madison's eyes. It's scary to move and not know anybody in the neighborhood. I wonder if that's how Madison feels. Maybe that's why she's acting this way." Ava remembered what Mama said about being able to understand how someone else might feel. "Do you know about empathy too?" she asked. Sophia laughed. "Yes, at first I thought it was just a superpower." Then Sophia thought for a moment and said, "Let's stand up to Madison together, but let's do it in a kind way." Ava watched as Sophia got on the bus the next day. Sophia stopped at Madison's seat and said hello. Madison frowned. "Why are you talking to me?" "Because she's a kind friend," said Ava. Madison glared at Ava. "She's not my friend and neither are you." "I am your friend," said Ava. "I'm Sophia's friend too. I should have told you that a long time ago. And we could all be friends." Maybe the three girls wouldn't be best friends, but they were off to a good start. Ava was pretty sure Sophia was right. Empathy was the superpower, after all. And there is the author, and there is the illustrator, and it's a great story to understand two sides of a story and to learn compassion and understanding. This is something we'll talk about through the whole year as we see each other again. And for now, I want you to take care of yourselves and remember, you are the leaders of our school and our role models. Be kind to each other and remember how much you matter. Until next time, bye.